Hey folks, it's your favorite sorcerer, Aurelius Sopax, and I was inspired to do another video this morning. I just started my day. I'm having a coffee, and while I'm doing so, I'm going to film this video, hopefully helping you in some way or another. But what I'm really doing is I'm expressing myself, expressing my daemon. And this video is about living right or living correctly as a magician. And actually, ideally, this is how every human being on the planet would live. Right? So hear me out. This is a big statement, I know, but hear me out. We know from Newton's laws that any action creates an opposite and equal reaction. And when you look at your life, that axiom transferred into that area of life means wherever things are hard or harder than they should be, there's a force resisting that. And it is a force that is as strong as the effort that you're putting into it. Okay. So you want to do something, accomplish something, create something, but there will be a force opposing that. And that is what is making it hard. You know, the ancient masters used to learn a lot from looking into nature. When you observe nature, when you observe animals, you will see, first of all, that everything happens in cycles. Okay? It's not always harvesting season. There's a season of planting the seed. There's a season of growth. There's a season of watering the seed. And then there's eventually there will be a harvest. But this is cyclical. And everything in life, actually time itself is cyclical. It's not linear. And when we look at the animals, they are very much in tune and in harmony with those cycles, right? Now, there's one great system, one great intelligence that is working through all of this. You could call it the Tao, the Taoists, Lao Tzu and all these guys. They would call this the Tao, the things that cannot be named. It's another word for God or universal intelligence or whatever, right? And this will, intelligence, force is working through all things. And a being that has perfected itself, so to speak, becomes a vessel for this force. In some of the videos that I think, was it the one that I posted yesterday or some day before that, whatever, I talked about uniting yourself with truth, becoming truth. And as you align yourself with your purpose and build yourself on truth, you will become backed by the universe and you will become unstoppable. So you could say that the process that we talked about there, or that I described, is becoming a natural being again, but a natural being in that sense, meaning you become one with the universe and you can then allow its power to move through you. This is a high level of mastery. Please understand that. High level of mastery that you could use in all areas of your life. You could use that in seduction. You could use that in, of course, magic, as we're talking about it here. So the goal is to become a vessel for the universe. This is also where your magical power comes from, to a large extent. The universe, your daemon, your mind that is built on truth and the right frequencies working through you, and that equals magical power. And it all has to do with energy. So if there are things that are working against that, they will prevent you from expressing that power. What does it have to do with cycles? There will be certain times in which you need to express more, other times in which you need to reflect more. There will be times in which you will reap the rewards, and it's super easy, but the pendulum is eventually going to swing back. The mistake that a lot of magicians make is they don't observe themselves. They don't observe nature. They don't observe what's going on in their lives. And they try to impose an artificial, linear progression onto things. They try to impose an artificial idea of consistency into everything. Consistency should exist in your practice. Consistency should exist in your orientation in life, generally speaking. But consistency can never exist when it comes to energy. There's always an up and down, of results that will go up and down and up and down. But with time, the baseline is going to go up. But around that, there will always be fluctuations. And what you will see over time, this is when we speak of a higher level of magician. The baseline is just better. There will still be, you will have new problems, new phenomena that you're going to have to master. Whereas in the beginning, you couldn't get a candle spell to work. And now your challenge is to affect things at a level of society or something like that. Okay. The size of the problem changes, but there will always be fluctuations. So where do these forces opposing your nature come from? Because that's really what it is. Your daemon exists. Your higher self wants to express itself. It is in harmony with the universe. And now the problem is in the lower self, in the ego, which means there are forces that are opposing the expression of that energy. There are ideas, there are beliefs, experiences, conclusions, all of these things. The way negative beliefs are formed are essentially, all of that can be broken down and summarized as tension. Tension in the mind, tension in the body, tension in the emotions. So a large part of your magical practice should consist of neutralizing this energy that is working against what you are here to express and do. This is why energy work is so important. I hardly find any magicians on YouTube that talk about things like Qigong, things like yoga, and their value when it comes to magic, It's a shame, but specifically when it comes to black magic, it seems that people really don't understand this whole thing. I have my theories about why that is, but partially it's a cultural thing because, in Western philosophy at one point, there was the idea of a separation between mind and spirit, and spirit, mind and body, spirit, mind and body. And the spirit was completely denied anyways. And there was only the mind, which was located in the nervous system and couldn't, that. And there was no connection between the body and that, I think, therefore I am. Horse shit. What a load of crap. Think about it. I think, therefore I am. No. You think as a the overstimulation or the uncontrolled thinking of your mind is actually a condition that is psychotic. It's not healthy. The natural state of the mind is to be balanced, at peace, and to ride the waves of reality. Well, Frank, how am I able to survive if I'm not thinking? Well, I tell you what, the majority of the day, or if I don't need to think something, my mind is calm because the subconscious handles everything. All this stuff that people call thinking are actually just, their mind has become a billboard for advertising or for YouTube videos. They replay bullshit in their mind that is completely unnecessary. Past experiences, future projections. And I've even met people, which is funny, which thought that was a sign of high intelligence. I'm so restless. I can't rest my mind. My mind never lets me rest. I can't sleep. You're fucked up. You're not intelligent. Do you understand that? It has nothing to do with intelligence. It's so ridiculous. There's a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of lack of understanding, period. Tension is a sign of disconnection with the universe. Use nature as an example. Everything happens at the right time, in the right sequence. And so that's how your magic has to happen as well. You need to harmonize yourself with the universe. You need to connect to your daemon, observe your own patterns, find your own rhythm through astrology, numerology, and then plant the seeds at the right time, the seeds of your rituals, and make them happen. And most importantly, release the forces within you that are working against the expression of that. Because to a large extent, what is holding you back is exactly that. Yes, of course, man. I mean, spirits exist. And there are a lot of spirits that are preventing you from doing things. But that is maybe, let's say, I would say, before we look at that, we have to look at ourselves first, because to a large extent, the problems are caused by your own mind, by the energy vectors that are put there. See, look at it like this. Something happens and you resist that internally. There's a force that you have to put against that in order to keep resisting it. But a law of the mind is that if you resist something, you make it real, you solidify it. Okay, so let's say you don't want something to happen and you resist it internally. That's how you keep it in place. Have you ever been in a situation in which you were wishing that something wouldn't happen, or rather you tried to prevent something from happening, and it's almost like you were resisting it, you were pushing it away, and that itself created the situation or moved the interaction into that direction. So by resisting it, you hold it in place. This is another lesson that you could apply to your problems that you have in your mind. Let's say you can't think of, or you can't stop thinking of something, whatever. You need to learn to let go of the resistance to that. And that has a lot to do with the body. As magicians, we need to have a good relationship with our bodies. Because that tension is not just in your mind, it's in your body, in your muscles, and subtle things. Yoga, Qigong, once again, all of these introspective practices are there to release all of that stuff. And this is when the true being can come through. The average person in society is so full of these contradictory vectors, these tensions in their mind, in their body, and everything, that they barely even have access anymore. And the older they get, the worse it is. And I have to say, I would say, generally speaking, men have even less access to that. Which does not mean that women are not fucked up. Women are just as fucked up. It's just that for some reason, for men, it has become a taboo to look within even more. Like it's kind of like this resistance. It has to do with yang energy. Yang energy is something like lifting weights, where it's tension. And men, generally speaking, have a different way of dealing with that than women. So for men, it's resisting even more, tensioning up internally and repressing even more, and then lashing out at the world, which is just another energy vector in that wrong direction. And for women, it's projection. They project a lot. They project. It's this, it's that, it's this, that, it's their partner, it's all of these things, right? So both don't take responsibility. By the way, if you want to live relationships correctly, you have to understand that the correct alchemical principle expressed in a romantic relationship is that the man is a solar principle, and the woman is the moon, and she shines because his light hits her. So if you're living your relationship correctly, as a man, you are the one that gives life to your woman. You enlighten her, you light her up, and if a woman is in a good relationship, you actually see how she glows up. She becomes more beautiful. And this is the energy of her man that is lighting her up. You can get rid of the shadows in her mind and in her soul. That is your job as a man. That's really your job. You're there to handle her and her problems, really, to a large extent. Now, I don't know if you agree with that. Probably not. Probably gonna have some militant feminists on this video as well that are not gonna agree. Now, but even in let's say homosexual relationships, gays or lesbians, even if their biological gender is the same, you will still find that one of the parties has more masculine energy than feminine energy, and vice versa. You see, so the same principle exists in all relationships, always. If you're the teacher, you use more masculine energy. You're projecting energy. As a student, as a good student, you have to be able to become receptive, which is a feminine energy, And in order to be a good master, teacher, you first have to learn how to be a good student. In fact, both of those are coupled, So empty your cup. Empty your cup, first and foremost. You need to understand what role you have and act accordingly. I mean, these are just thoughts that are going through my mind. And see, the way you understand life correctly, in my opinion, is you take the subject and compare it to something that you already understand. I'm a master magician. I have other strengths and other fields that I've mastered, but magic is really my art. That's what I am in my heart and my soul. I'm good at many other things. I'm good at martial arts. I'm good at seduction. I'm good at business. I'm good at many things. But my forte, in my heart and soul, I'm a magician. So if I want to understand something new, I will compare it to this art. I will use magic to explain this thing. And this is how you should look at everything else. What is a concept that you have a very, very deep understanding of? And what are the principles from this art that you can use to understand this one? That's how you should look at the world. So when I look at the world, I see it through a prism of magic. And if you are a serious magician, and I'm speaking to the magicians here, of course, this is how you should approach the world. Everything should be seen as magic, and your life should become magical. What does that mean? There's no mundane activity. If I'm drinking this coffee, I dedicate it to my demon. My whole day, my whole routine, from the workouts that I'm going to do today, from the studying that I'm going to do today, to the calls that I have to do today, that's all dedicated to my daemon. There's no difference in the way I live or make money or seduce or any of that. It's all streamlined, you understand? There are very, very little or few contradictory vectors in my life. And once again, that is, of course, a trait that you will find in nature. A wild animal, a wolf. First of all, wolves hunt in packs, of course, So I'm probably more of a serpent, or any. Imagine a wild animal that spends a lot of time alone. All right, so maybe I'm more like a werewolf or something like that. Get what I'm saying? The point is, if you have a wild animal, that wild animal expresses itself, and that expression is survival. And you have the same ability to do that. If you were just to get rid of the things within you that are preventing the expression of your power, and you dedicated yourself to your art and your mastery, your very expression, the very expression of yourself would lead to a higher level of survival in this world. And that should be your goal. Because what else is there to do? What else is there to do but to live in harmony with the universe and to express your daemon? Now, I could say a lot more about that because it's not limited to this lifetime, obviously, right? But it all begins with this. Connect to your daemon. Get rid of what's blocking the expression of the universe through you. And then become really fucking good at what you do. And this is all you have to do in this life. This is what you're supposed to do. Become an expression of the universe. Follow the Tao. This is the source of power. This is the source of wisdom. This is the source of strength. I'm going to wrap it up here. Hopefully you got something out of this. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.